I would suggest that if you are struggling with toxic productivity, one thing is awareness. You have to know exactly, is what you're doing toxic productivity or not? Is what you're doing actually moving the needle? Because for me, I constantly find myself feeling like I'm successful, having a successful day, only if I'm doing a lot of stuff. Because for some reason, having this big old to-do list makes me feel so good about myself. But to be honest, looking back at past years where I was my most productive, I was actually my least productive. And it was painful to look back at that and say, I sacrificed so many hours. Like I worked 12-hour, 15-hour days for many days, 6, 7 days a week, thinking that's what was needed of me. I needed it. I needed to keep working because I needed to justify making myself feel a certain way, like I am a certain person, as opposed to being that person. And so when it comes to your toxic productivity, I want you to really look into, first off, awareness. Is what I'm doing today or every day or whatever you have on your to-do list genuinely getting the job done in a way where it's pushing the needle? So because I'll tell you this, I have accomplished there's been days I've accomplished so little, but I never valued the weight of those tasks or strategies. And those were actually the best things that I could have done because they eliminated 10 different actions that I would have to had taken. But because my identity with this massive imposter syndrome I had was in the doing, it didn't matter if I moved the needle or not because I was about feeling. It was all about feeling like I was moving the needle. So your mind and your heart can lie to you. And so how do you find this groundedness of truth in, is what I'm doing the thing I should be doing, or am I wasting my life away? Feeling productive. It's like someone trying to, if you're chained to a task, physically, let's say you're chained to a task, whatever that looks like, and you get a filing nail, a nail file. Can't talk like this. And you just work on it every day, and you can feel good every day and say, I'm doing it. I'm making progress. I see little scratches of paint coming off every day. And then maybe it comes off 5 years later, you know, as opposed to asking the person next to you in this prison of the same tasks. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking. Anyway, what I'm saying is you're focused so much on the filing down of the task, of the goal, like to reach that goal, that you don't even notice other strategies that can get you to where you need to go so much better, so much quicker, and with higher quality of life. Um, so another thing is that's step one is awareness. Step two is to focus on, okay, this is a game changer for one thing changed my life was asking, what's the one thing I can do today that will move the needle and eliminate all the other things I have to do that have to do with this thing. I use the word thing way too many times. But basically, that was a game changer. And I became really good at moving the needle, but that didn't matter for me because when I did that, my imposter syndrome and the guilt tripping and the identity, it was all still there. So you can do the right things, and you have days where you are doing the right things a lot more than you think you are, but your imposter syndrome is holding you back from leveling up your life and being and stepping into that version of yourself permanently. So you're basically going up for air underwater, but thinking, no, I'm supposed to be underwater, so I'm going to keep myself here and keep working hard to get air from bubbles or whatever. I'm a very visual thinker, so I'm seeing this in my head, but I don't think it comes out as clear. But basically, my goal is to get you in this situation to think of yourself as someone different. Like think of it this way. Think of it this way. If you say, and I this was my big thing for a while. Let's say you say, I want to go to the gym 5 days a week. I instantly stop my clients and I say, that's not your goal. In fact, I don't want you to do that. And they say, why? That's so weird. Like I thought it was a good thing to be consistent. And I said, no, we're starting off the wrong way. The whole thing is about the doing. Why are you going to the gym? What is the reason you're going? Now, you would think everyone would have the same answer, just to get in shape. That's very general, and that's the problem. That's the next step. Step three is to get very specific. Very, very specific. So if you're general, it's like having a big target and a tiny little arrow, and you're blindfolded and you're kind of just spinning around throwing it. Or say a tiny target. I'm sorry, a tiny target, tiny arrow, tiny target. Very general. But you make the target bigger, the more specific you are, filling it with more information, more of those target lines, bigger and bigger and bigger, so it's easier to hit. Because some people have told me they want to lose weight. Okay, well, your workout plans can be very different than if you wanted to gain muscle, right? Or just tone up, or if you just wanted to go just to socialize, just because maybe you've had a hard time and you just want to be more social. And that is where the answer lies, because with that, you can start actually getting more specific. If you're really general, you're basically giving yourself more time to spend. And your time is the most valuable thing you have. So by getting specific, you are basically supporting and respecting yourself on a whole new level. Because say you wanted to go to the gym to work out to get in shape, okay, get more specific. I want to get more, I want to get toned, but I also want to gain more muscle too. Great. Do you have to go to the gym for that? That's a big thing right there. That was something I realized because I was struggling to go to the gym for a long time because I just didn't want to go through the process of, oh, I got to get dressed for this. I got to fill up my water. I got to go drive there. I got to drive back. That's like a half-hour process doing all this. And I got to be around people that are on the machines and don't clean it. And it's just like, I didn't want that, but I wanted to be in shape. And I associated going to the gym with being in shape. No, getting in shape is associated with getting in shape. And being specific with that, I realized I can do calisthenics at home, have workout bands. Uh, I have this bar I do pull-ups on. And so I got very specific on what I really wanted out of a workout. So the main thing that you write down as what I want, that's not the thing, that's the category, right? And you're supposed to write a tree underneath that of, okay, well, what do I want this for? There's like three little branches that come out of it, and each branch you got to get specific and say why. And when you get to the point where you're at the root and you're saying, I don't think I can add more branches. Now you're so specific because maybe you didn't realize I go to the gym because I want to feel good about my body. I want to live longer, but I also struggle with going to the gym because I want more freedom. And I don't like how tied down I feel to the process of having to drive back and forth. So being specific is going to help give you that freedom. Now, the last step to this is a mindset step because you still have that imposter syndrome. And the mind is going to hold you back until you do something different. So just know this. There's no difference between you and, well, your potential and someone else's potential. Like, right, I'm different from you, you're different from me, we're all different from each other, right? But we're all human beings. and we all have potential. I've seen incredible things done by people who don't have limbs. That have done more than I have in my life. Physically, like they've gone surfing and won awards. They've like one of my favorite speakers has no limbs, and he is the number like one of the number one speakers in the world. Makes way more money than I do. He seems so much like more full of life than I am, and so you don't need to be exactly the same as everyone else, but you just have to acknowledge your humanity. And that's not just about being vulnerable, but it's also about knowing the potential that is always around you. And the only difference between seeing that potential and not is your mindset. And if you change your mindset and you start thinking like the person you want to be, and you say, I am now officially that person, you can step into that. But if you don't do that, you never will. You'll either, I mean, you may, but only after doing a certain amount of actions that lead up to a point where you're just convinced that, okay, I'm this person's. But why wait that long and do all that effort when you could just do it right now without any of that? It's really crazy how many things we can do. So to convince ourselves for some certain thing. So I would say for this last step, write down specifically who you are, who that person is you want to be genuinely. And this is something when I started my career as a depression coach, that was the first thing I ever did. I voluntarily for 14 years reached out to people going through depression and tried helping them as best as I could, but not as a coach, but just as, I mean, I said coach, depression coach. I just gave it a name because I didn't know. That's basically what I was focusing on doing. I was just voluntarily talking to people going through depression because I had it myself and it was really hard to think I had value. And then I started talking to people, but I'm not going to go on a tangent. But basically, we got through all of that and got out of this depression stage by acknowledging it wasn't who we were, it was a stage. Like anything negative was a stage, anything positive was our identity. So if you think I can't be this person, I am not this person, I'm not a millionaire yet, you have to let that go and lie to your brain. It's because the brain will back up what you tell it. If you keep telling your brain, I'm not a millionaire, I'm not in shape, I'm not good enough, I'm not this and that, I'm not worthy of love, all of whatever it is, you're going to back it up and you're going to keep thinking like that person. But if you start telling your brain, I am a millionaire, I am in shape, I am worthy of love, I am all this and that, now your brain's going to say, after a certain amount of time, you're going to build a neural pathway and your brain's going to say, oh, I guess I should rewire myself to believe this and start thinking that way because I don't want to lead them astray. They're telling me. So your brain will actually do that. And if you read, like I've read so many millionaire books where it's like, how to be a millionaire. You have to just think you're a millionaire. Believe you're a millionaire. Don't think it. Believe it. I am a millionaire. And um, it sounded ridiculous and kind of lame to me, like very naive. But in reality, that is something it's completely real. And I've seen it work with people going through things like anxiety and depression. I've worked with people that are going through bipolar disorder. Well, they have bipolar disorder. That's an actual thing. Depression is an actual thing too. I'm so bad at this right now. But basically, depression, like I'm saying, if you are feeling like you're depressed, are you feeling like you're stuck? Think of it as I am not, well, you don't want to think in negatives. You want to think I am going through a stage or phase of depression. No, I did. This is what I did. I'd say I was going through a phase or stage of depression, but now I am doing great. I'm excited. I am a millionaire and I'm in shape and I'm going to do the thing. I'm doing all the things right now. I'm starting the things that are actually going to lead me there. And it actually does genuinely make you think in a different light because if you don't give yourself that chance, here's the weird thing about imposter syndrome is you think that by thinking of the version of you that is better and leveled up, thinking that you're not allowed to be that person, that's the actual imposter syndrome. It's not, it's thinking that you're not allowed to be that. Because you're being an imposter to yourself by saying, I can only be what I see when I look in the mirror. I can only be what I think I am right now. That's the imposter syndrome, thinking that you have limited your potential, that you have no potential past what you are plateauing at right now mentally. That's imposter syndrome. So if you're feeling like you can't achieve something, just know that that is not true. It is not. So these are the ways that I have um, gotten myself out of really hard times and leveled up, and I'm still doing it all the time. I'm constantly trying so hard to level up, and it works really, really well. And I mean trying in the sense of certainty, not in the sense of I hope. I'm giving my best effort, and so find those things that are actually going to move the needle. Don't be afraid to get specific. Don't be afraid to think of yourself as someone bigger than you are now. Because in reality, it's not like you are small, you're just playing small. It's almost like the opposite of a turtle in a shell. Like you're actually bigger and you're squeezing yourself so tightly into this shell you don't fit in. And it's the hermit crab literally goes around and changes shells to bigger shells, but throughout its whole life. And if it didn't, it would die in that shell and it would actually suffocate itself that way. So for me, I've felt in the past, I've suffocated myself trying to convince myself I couldn't be more than I was with what I thought I was. And you can reinvent yourself. You have permission from yourself to reinvent yourself, to keep growing. And you know what happens? It's really amazing is you create space. When you think bigger, you move into a bigger headspace, bigger heart space. You are creating space to grow and fill that space with the person you want to be. And that'll never happen if you have one foot in one room. I say this wrong all the time. One foot in the door between one room and another. So you have to be able to see past those limitations because the next level version of you does not think the way you think. All right, I'm just gonna tell you straight up honestly, like the version that you want to be that you imagine all the time, that you wish you were, traveling the world or having the love of your life or making lots of money or living that dream career, helping millions of people with your invention or creation, whatever it is, that version of you does not think the way you think. The way you think is the exact algorithm or formula for how to live the exact life you're living right now. The way that version of you thinks has a very different formula. Their formula is basically with your history, 100% history, but they have added something different. They've added different decisions. Their mentality is different. The way they approach things is different. So it's not that you can't be that person, it's that you can't be that person with the way you're thinking. You can only be that person if you change the way you're thinking. It's about being first. All right. If you work on the doing first, you'll never reach it. You won't. Because if you want to have, let's say, a nice house, you don't want that nice house. You want the life where you're happy and where you are living in a way of creating meaningful things that have gotten you to that house, filled with family. You want to fill the house. You don't want just a big empty house. So that's surface level. When we look at things like that, when we look at other people's lives, we think, I want what they've got. That's looking at the surface level. But you know what? You can never tell how fulfilled someone is on the surface. You can never tell how loving a home is by looking at just the home. You can never tell how happy someone is by looking at their car. You have to know, you can only know by talking to the person, by living that life, by being that person, by getting to know that person, whether it's outside of you or actually inside of you, who you are. So if you really, really desperately want to get unstuck, stop overworking yourself, stop being this person where that's holding you back, and just go out and finally just live your potential. Stop being that person in a Ferrari in a garage with no key. Go, just the key is there. Okay. The problem is you're in this Ferrari and you're not giving yourself the chance to turn on the Ferrari and open the garage because it doesn't look the way you think it should look. The door's not going to magically open for you. You have to be the one to find that remote, find that key, and then you have to be the one to push it. And you need to have the mindset to be able to drive that car because a lot for me and a lot of my clients that have imposter syndrome that uh, like say own a lot of businesses, they they a lot of it comes down to great, we know what to do. The mindset's not there. Like that's the thing. Like, are you able to continue being this person that is going to help you? Because you may know all the ways to make $1 million. You may know all the ways to bring world peace, but are you the kind of person that is ready and can you hold it? That was my biggest fear with my imposter syndrome was I thought, um, I know I can be successful in these ways I want to be, but it came down to that do I believe in myself enough to consistently keep this up and not look down on myself? It's almost like I was addicted to this feeling of, but I have to look down on myself. I have to try and stay humble. No, if like true humility doesn't come from trying to be humble, it comes from being humble. So, same with anything in your life, being you don't want to try to be authentic. You don't want to try to be healthy. You want to be healthy. You want to be authentic. There's a big difference. So, and it's you can try to do things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're defining the word try with half-ass it, or hope for it, or just play with it, it's not going to get you anywhere. So redefine what things are for you because you're capable of so much more than you think you are. If you have ADHD like I do, just know I've seen this a million times. If anything I've said has resonated with you, I hop on calls all the time with people, consultation calls, and they think that they have a different story than everyone else. They say, "Oh, you don't even know the half of it. My story is so different. I have been through so much harder things, so many harder things. I can't. I procrastinate constantly. I struggle with my time management. I can't focus. I'm totally disorganized. I can't regulate my emotions. I have shiny object syndrome. I have horrible sleep." And I bet you said yes to at least one of those things, and that was me too. Um, so just know like with those people too, like I've had every client I've ever had has had those exact same issues. At least two or three out of all of those issues. Um, and they've all been like I track their metrics and they all literally go 100 to 900% increase their ability to manage their executive functioning in literally 2 months. And it's only because of habits. Like habits. That's it. We work on neuroplasticity, rewiring the brain, the way you think, and the strategies you're using, the formula you have for your life. So if the formula you're using right now isn't working, don't expect it to get you to where you want to go. Um, what will get you to where you want to go is a new formula, a new system. And then if you could just know how to do that in a way that works for your ADHD, where it's not daunting and it's easy to follow through with, it's easy to be consistent with small and doable steps and to be easy on yourself and build your confidence, that will lead for sure to your goals because it's only a matter of time if you're in this kind of trial and error process of, okay, you know what? I'm just going to keep working on myself and I'm going to improve 1% every day until I get there. That's my mindset that I found has always got me to my goals. I took time out of time, just the time aspect out of trying to worry about how much time it's going to take. And I just do my best to do that one thing that's going to move the needle every day. And I just work on myself every day. And it makes you so confident in yourself because when you do all the things that aren't working and you find all the things that are working, you can have a really, really clear vision. It's like putting on glasses for the first time in your life when you've always needed them. And I had that actually happened to me the other day, like last year. Everything looked so HD, and I had no idea life could look like that. That grass could look like that. That flowers could look so beautiful. Had no idea. And so that's what's going on with you right now. So if you want help with your executive functioning, click on the link in the description below. And if you like this video, I would love to hear what you thought. I'm kind of just having one of those days where I just felt like expressing something, and I thought maybe this could uplift some people that really need that help and reassurance. Because for me, reassurance is the thing that I usually pay for when I hire somebody. So if this vibes with you, let's talk. If it doesn't, or if it does and you just want to go on with your day, just do me a favor, and I just want to know that I've helped someone out there that at least feels like there's something shifted today. So please just do me the favor and just go out and be that version you deserve to be. Go, just try something. Try one thing different today, and give yourself a chance because you deserve that. I I I can't tell you enough. I wish I could have filmed all of my coaching sessions since I started in high school. Because if you saw all of those people, these beautiful people who have beautiful souls and just struggled because they didn't know what to do, or they knew what to do and they just couldn't do it. And then they ended up making millionaire businesses, or finding the love of their lives, or improving their marriages, or writing books, or just whatever it is. Like, they've reached so many beautiful goals, and it's made me tear up at times. And I want to tear up just thinking about it. But I just want you to know you are so much more worthy than you think you are. It is not because you are broken. You are not broken. Please don't believe that anymore. It is not the truth. It all comes down to your strategy, and that is it. Just the strategy. And the strategy about your mind and how you're being and what you're doing. That's it. And if you could just narrow it down day by day, you will get there. Just don't stop. Try something new. Don't try the same thing over and over. Think of that one thing that'll move the needle. I can't stress that enough. One thing, just do that one thing. So, yeah, like and subscribe if you want to keep hearing my rants, my motivational rants. Um, and I genuinely hope that you are you're going to reach your goals. I know you are. So feel free to stay in touch. Comment below if you have any questions. I'm here to answer. I'm not going to try and sell you anything unless you genuinely want to be sold to. If you want coaching, if you don't, I'm just going to answer your questions and comment and be friends. So I hope you have a beautiful day.